All right, so good morning, everyone. My name is Ricardo Perez. I'm a sector business consultant with DOR's Pathways to Success project. Although I focus primarily in IT and sustainable green energy, I'm going to be leading you all in this presentation this morning about labor market information. I want to quickly introduce my colleagues and co-presenters here. We'll start with you, Stacy.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. My name is Stacy. I am the sector business consultant for healthcare, construction, and transportation. And I'll pass it over to Carla.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carla Martinez, and I'm the sector business consultant for the biotechnology and life sciences and advanced manufacturing sectors. And thank you so much for taking the time to view our presentation. And I'm going to hand it back to Ricardo.
Awesome. I want to put a forward before we get into the actual presentation. I will share the screen right now. In that, if you're seeing this in the future, or if you're using this as reference, a lot of the information we're going to say probably is going to change, and it's due to many factors that I'll cover as we go along. And so, if you happen to have questions on any of this, and again, you're seeing this in the future, um, do send us an email or send us any queries that you might have based on whatever you're seeing today. So what I want to do is to kind of outlay what we're going to be discussing today. So I'll provide you the objectives, what specifically is the LMI, what we're going to be talking about when we say LMI, and then all of the resources that we utilize on a daily basis, but all of which you will have access to as well. And that includes EDD, uh, BLS, Career Index, some other resources we'll give to you, and at the very end, we'll have our Q&A. Okay, so today and in this presentation, what I want to make sure everyone understands is how labor market information can help you with your overall job search. A lot of the information being provided today is going to be tailored for you based on what you need. However, there's always going to be something that's going to be unique on your end that we won't have information about. And so your results may vary. All of the tools and recognizing the ones that work best for you is something that us as sector business consultants want to ensure that you have. So again, if you have clarifying questions, you can either ask at the end of the presentation or you can simply shoot us an email. And then the last thing is that in the event that you're utilizing some of these services already, we want to show you a different way in which you can utilize those same resources in a different light. And I'll talk more about it once we get to that section. So, what is it about LMI that I'm specifically referring to? So, labor market information is the process of collecting, analyzing, estimating, reporting, and publishing economic data to describe and predict the relationship between labor demand and labor supply. And so, the types of information that typically fall underneath that category tend to be job trends and wages, required education, jobs that are currently available, and then what employers are looking for. Overall, all of these components that are given to multiple entities, whether it's on a state level, city level, federal level, um, all provide us with essentially what the trends are, what's currently happening. Um, a lot of that information is voluntary by some of these companies and other entities. And so, try as we might, a lot of the data that we've received is, it's to the best of its ability, essentially. One of those examples that we're going to hop into in a moment here is with EDD, another state entity that we work with. And the information provided to us also talk about these other components, and these are items that we want to ensure that you have at least a decent understanding of what that could entail, but also in the event that you have a very unique situation, we want to make sure that you're at least being able to find additional resources that can help supplement some of these areas that you're not quite as either adverse in or simply things you didn't know existed that could benefit you. So, EDD, which stands for the Employment Development Department, uh, happens to also be the same state department you go to when you are unemployed and want to get some unemployment benefits after working for some time. That's what they're primarily known for. However, they are another state entity that does help with workforce related items. So they'll help out job seekers as well as employers. They typically try to provide you with information like the unemployment rates or what's currently happening in a local area. And they also happen to have what's known as an LMI data library. Now, what I'm going to do is actually swap to the website so that I can show you a little bit more clearly what they're able to support us with. And if you'll just give me one moment here. And so here on the screen is the actual website. In the presentation that we'll share with you all, there are screenshots of this, but I wanted to showcase to you how to really utilize this. So the URL is labormarketinfo.edd.ca.gov. And in here is information that you can look at in regards to what the state is seeing as far as trends or items that could concern you based on your own job search. To keep it simple for us today, what I wanted to show you is that they have interactive maps that can showcase you certain information. You can do it by county. You can do it by a metropolitan area. So let's say we click on that, and look at potentially like the Bay Area or, certain areas of note. But even still, all of the information in here can help you see the industries that are reporting whether they have an increase in positions or a decrease in positions. This can benefit you in regards to like, are you in the right industry, essentially? Or if you are in a certain industry, like, is it still going to be trending up or is it time to pivot? That's really what this information is intended for. And if you are a strict data nerd, you may actually find additional information in here that can propel you into realms that you didn't think about could exist. Now, they have all these different areas, but the primary thing that you're probably going to be accessing will be job seekers and students. And if you go into that section, not only will they have areas about like finding a new career or past the next job, they also have items in here that says occupations in demand. And so essentially, if you click on any of these links, like the EDD Open Data Portal, you can see information that you can gather that will tell you more about what's currently in demand. And again, based on what's currently reported. Now, all this information is still voluntary. And so again, the information may change over time. Ideally, in the perfect world, everything is reported and we know everything that's going on. Instead, we get an estimation and we try to provide an educated guess as far as what's currently happening. Now, I've talked about it on a state level. What I'd like to do is actually pass it over to my colleague Stacy, who's going to be able to talk to you about it on a federal level. Stacy, you ready?
Yes, I think I am ready. So today I'd like to talk to you guys about the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So the website is www.bls.gov. Like Ricardo said, this is kind of a nationwide overlook on some employment data that you can find. It can also help you find related job titles or salary or wage averages throughout the nation. So I'm just going to use this search box and walk you through what I think is kind of the simplest way to find the data that you might be looking for. So as an example, I'm going to type into this search box from the homepage, registered nurse. And it's going to bring up some search results. And I think you should pay special attention to two of these tabs. The first tab that we're going to look at is right here under Registered Nurses Occupational Outlook Handbook. So this is going to give you your job outlook for a period of 10 years. So for registered nurses, you can see right here, the job outlook from 2024 to 2034 is supposed to grow at 5%, which is faster than average. It also gives you a lot of great information on what it takes to get started in this occupation. As you can see from up here, they have other tabs that will describe what a nurse does, what the work environment is like, how much sitting, standing, where you're going to be working. Will it be at a hospital? Will it be in government? The other tabs are how to become one. What is the pay like? What is the job outlook like? You can also look for state and area data, as well as over here, we talked about similar occupations. So you can go through some of these and see what might a career pathway into this field look like? Or maybe you've already studied some for nursing, but have decided that you want to pivot into a different area. So this is another tab where you can look and see other potential career pathways that you could look into. And then really quickly, we'll touch on one other area of the site that I think can be really helpful when it comes to just understanding what your salary expectations are and what they could be in your local area. So if we went back to the search box, we could type in registered nurse and we could scroll down until we find OEWS. The other way you can find that is by clicking here on data tools, and then you can go to employment and wage data viewer. This will bring up a few different drop boxes. This is actually just a little bit different than what I expected. So this will bring you to a few different drop boxes. You can actually put in your industry, your job title, and the area that you want to look at. So if you want to look at California, if you want to see regions with, higher pay like Los Angeles versus maybe a rural area of Northern California, you can see a lot of that information by coming over here to your data tools. And really quickly, I will just pull it back up the other way because I think that will show you the drop-down menu. Okay. So from here, you can go to occupational profile application. And this will give you those drop downs I was just describing. So your major occupational group, for this example, it would be healthcare, practitioners and technical occupations. Then you can come down here and select registered nurses. And then you can select what are we looking for? Employment, hourly wage, annual wage, the top of the wage percentile, the 90th percentile versus the 10th percentile. So you can really narrow your search down this way and get a lot of other great local and nationwide information on, where most people are employed, how much they're making, and things like that can help educate your decisions moving forward. And with that, I will pass it back to Ricardo.
Sounds great. Thanks for that, Stacy. So moving along with our presentation, I want to quickly discuss what's known as the Career Index Plus. So if you're following along in the presentation that we'll share with you, this is the next thing that comes up on in the sections. And this is something that we use internally. You may have already seen this through either your counselor or from one of the other business specialists, business consultants, excuse me. And so with this, we utilize this in a different way as well. So yes, they have a job search component, National Labor Exchange or CareerJet, and you can kind of see like a typical job board, like what's going on. But we actually use this I use this mostly in a method in which trying to find out, okay, if I have an idea of the sector that I want to go to or like the type of field I want to be in, I only know one term, Right. So let's say, for instance, I only know of software engineer, and I've been typing that down, and I'm not coming up with anything that's helping me out. So what else can I do? So in here, I'm going to type that in, and I'm going to essentially click on the first thing that pops up, and it falls underneath what they say is software developers. Now, it'll give you a basic overview of these career paths, and all of the information is derived from ONET, which is another resource that we utilize in just understanding, at least on a basic level, what some of these career paths may be. However, I'm going to point you to this tab here that says related jobs. And now it's going to give me a listing of other titles to consider when I do my own job search. Now, with this, as far as how this relates to labor market, is that even though the information we presented to you provides some information based on what's currently happening, when you're doing a job search, a lot of those general ideas don't really assist you. So how do we narrow it down to assist us? And that's where a website like this can definitely benefit you. And it definitely benefits me because now I have other ways in which I can put in all of these keywords when I search for work to see what's currently available. Or let's say, for instance, there's something in here that you haven't seen before, like simulation developer. You can simply click on that, and as it does its search through the National Labor Exchange, you can see what examples that actually might produce. Let me go back here. Now, the other components to this is that you can also utilize what are called the My Pathways tab in terms of how do you get to a position like this? So let's say you did a search based on where you're currently at. So let's say you did get a degree as a software engineer, and so you want to, say, for instance, wind up as a database architect. So if we click on that and then we click Show My Pathway, it can give you a kind of a report about how it connects, what you would need to essentially wind up in this other career path or other um, certifications, education, skill sets, things that you wouldn't think about that you may require in order to really get into this sort of realm. Now, everything here, it's still in a general sense because it's just going to depend on uh, the company that's hiring and what they put in their specifications and things like that. But at least on general scale, you can get an idea about how you can wind up in a certain career path based on what you currently have. So, for those who maybe want to pivot from their current careers into something different, this tool can be of assistance to you. But for others, if you kind of have a good idea as far as what type of work you still want to wind up at, then really what's going to benefit you is the related jobs tab so that you can look at other types of titles that can, showcase to you jobs that are currently available. All of these other tabs, if you have a look around, can also provide you with additional information based on, again, what ONET has, which is done on a federal level, and not necessarily reflect anything that happens on a statewide level. So again, as you see here, BLS 2024 median salaries based on this. So just like what Stacy said, a lot of the information is on there, but it's only what's being reported currently. Now, you all can have access to this. We would simply need to send you an invite. So if you are interested in having access to the Career Index Plus, please let your sector business consultant know so that we can get you into this so that you can play around and see if it's something that can benefit you. I'm now going to go back to our presentation. And I'm going to we're going to be passing through all of the things that we had just discussed. So it's proof that we covered what we needed to cover. Okay, so there's now other resources we'd like for you to also consider. Things that may not have come across your way, or maybe they have, and these are items that you haven't thought about utilizing them in a certain way. So the items that we have listed on here is Workforce GPS, in America's Job Centers of California. The the three big ones as far as job searching: LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed, and then of course what we say are professional associations. So Workforce GPS, I'll show you the screenshot here, is a website that can also provide you additional information about labor market information overall. So there are other tips and tricks that can benefit you as far as looking for additional assistance in finding specific information about certain career paths, or if you want to just like expand your knowledge as far as like what could be available for you in the future. If you're thinking about promoting into a different role, or again pivoting into something else, there's a good library here that can show you a bunch of videos of other ways that you can consider moving around within a certain realm. So AJCCs, the American Job Centers of California, are also used to be known as one-stop centers. These are places that you can go to and receive additional assistance as far as your job search. Now, there's always an AJCC local to you. It doesn't matter where you're at in the state. And going to this website that we'll make sure that you have a link to can also help you search to see what's nearby. AJCCs may or may not be interacting with your local DOR office. However, they are there to provide overall a support in terms of your job search. So, if you're looking for job fairs, if you're looking for additional job boards, maybe certain leads in certain industries on a very local level, these AJCCs can definitely provide you with that support. Now, for LinkedIn, every company that you are looking for has what they are calling like their insights. And in these insights, they're giving you information that LinkedIn has about whether or not a company is increasing their employees or they're reducing. So I know for some of you, you may have heard about companies already doing mass layoffs and things of that nature. But if you want to find out for yourself if a certain company is hiring or if there is demand for certain roles, LinkedIn can still assist you in this regard. Now, this information is based on the free version. If you happen to have LinkedIn Premium, you can see a more expanded version of what's here. But again, at least on the free version, you can get a very quick idea as far as companies that are expanding or decreasing as far as their hires are concerned. Now, if you don't know how to access this, again, feel free to ask us. We'll help you out. But between this and if you do have LinkedIn Premium, you can also expand your general knowledge because it'll provide you with additional information that you may not consider for certain positions. But more so, if there are positions listed on here, but you don't have specific skill sets for them, you can utilize the LinkedIn Learning component where you'll be able to take these classes through LinkedIn and have these badges upon completion onto your profile. So if you happen to apply for these roles, they can see that you've understood at least the basics through the LinkedIn Learning component. And lastly, what I'd like to mention as far as like professional associations are concerned are essentially groups, networking groups or entities in which individuals in very specific career goals can congregate and network. and help and assist and let you know everything that could potentially be available for you. I'm going to switch back now to the browser because I want us to be able to highlight some of these organizations that we're referring to. That way, in the event that you have interest for organization like this, or if you want to look for something that's available to you, we will have that. Um, I'll first start with what we call is the oh, I beg your pardon. Um, so let's say, for instance, you were going to be a part of uh, the sustainable green energy components, and you're looking for ways in which you can connect with individuals. They have items like green jobs. They have items where you can connect with other HVAC related individuals, or this can also turn right back into, like, say, specific groups within LinkedIn. So I'll go back here and say, for instance, okay, I'm going to be a part of what's known as the Green and Climate Jobs and Career Network. And this allows you to not only connect with other individuals that are within the field, build out your LinkedIn profile, but also you can see, like, if they're looking for individuals to apply. So let's say you want to be a sustainability director or something of that nature. This is a good way for you to both connect as well as see jobs that can be available. Now I'm going to actually pass it to Stacy again so she can talk to you a little bit more about Build California.
Awesome. Thank you, Ricardo. So Build California is another excellent resource for people in the construction or transportation industry. I say transportation because I know of someone where they recently supported a heavy equipment operator apprenticeship. So kind of talking about that career pathway from a Class A driver, maybe into a union type environment, with benefits and things like that. So AGC stands for Associated General Contractors, and this specific chapter is for California. What their main focus is there is an extreme shortage of specialized skilled trades workers. And we're not replacing the workers that are retiring as fast as those jobs are becoming available. So it's kind of framed as a crisis. So AGC organized Build California, which is really to bring in the next generation of trades workers. Some of the cool information that you can find on a site like this, and it doesn't seem like I have, okay, yeah, it's working now. There's a little lag there. So if you look down here, if you go to careers, it's going to give you that labor market information on a much smaller scale, specifically for the state of California. So here you can see the top careers. It'll give you a little bit of wage information. And then if you look down here, it says the demand through 2030 is extreme, right? You can see high. There's another one down here a little bit where it says medium. So if you're looking at exploring a career in the trades or in the construction industry, this organization can give you a lot of data on what they see the needs are within California. And when you're working with an organization like this, they really have their fingers on the pulse. Like, they focus in this one specific area, right? Like all the other organizations that we're going to talk to you guys about today. So getting connected with an organization like this can not only increase your knowledge on what the industry trends are, but it could also provide other support opportunities for you as well. I know that Build California and AGC, they also offer career counseling. You get career counseling from DOR, but again, it never hurts to have more people on your side, more people supporting your career journey. So you can link up with your career counselors. I know they sponsor some apprenticeship opportunities. And they're just really active within the community. They show up at a lot of events. So they're great people to get connected with, just to provide that additional layer of support. And this organization also just has a find a job link. So they post a lot of jobs for companies that they're partnered with as well. So just wanted to show you that as well. And with that, I will pass it back to Ricardo.
Thank you so much. All right. So the other website that I'm actually going to be bringing in, the other sector business consultant, Carla Martinez, is called Biocom California. Um, Carla, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
Of course. Thanks, Ricardo. So yeah, I would like to highlight Biocom California's website. Biocom is the largest advocacy organization in California for biotech and life sciences. So if you're pursuing a career in biotech, bioengineering, biopharmaceutical manufacturing, or even the clinical sciences, Biocom California is definitely an association that you want to familiarize yourself with for several reasons. So they're known for putting on these great networking events. They host a robust life sciences job board called the Career Hub. If you can see up here in the ribbon at the very top, there's a link to the Career Hub. And that is a whole other conversation. And if you're interested in learning more about that resource, I can actually provide you a webinar that Biocom did, just showing tips and tricks on how to navigate it. And then they also offer fellowship opportunities, like Stacy mentioned. It never hurts to receive more support, and especially if the support involves folks who have been through it, right? Folks who have pursued these careers and are actually very familiar with what it takes to thrive in that industry. So I'm going to demonstrate two ways to access labor market information on biocom.org. First, Biocom publishes a yearly life science economic impact report. So that can be found on the homepage. And I'm going to try to scroll down a bit. And they put out this publication every year. And it's so this is actually created in partnership with Deloitte and HSBC. And it highlights how many jobs the life sciences have been created in the state, how much economic output the life sciences sector has contributed to the economy, and how California compares to other states that also have a booming life sciences sector. So if you click on Explore the Data, you can download the full data book where it says download full data book. And if you scroll a little bit further down, you can also download a California at a glance fact sheet. And then 4 other reports that spotlight information from major life science hotbeds or regions. So there's one on Greater Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego. So these reports are actually very insightful because you get to take a closer look at what these particular regions are specializing in, right? So the Bay Area, for example, is huge on research and development. Orange County, their electro medical devices and manufacturing is booming as well. Additionally, Biocom also organizes events showcasing recent workforce and economic development updates on the regional level. So I'm going to click on the events page so that you can take a look at upcoming events. There may or may not be a regional one coming up, but this is where you can find it. And those events can be very insightful. So I want to say about 1.5 years ago, I attended a webinar highlighting the expansion of biomanufacturing in the Thousand Oaks area. And my key takeaway from that meeting was their need for regulatory affairs and compliance talent in that particular region, which is information that I probably would not have attained from the life science report. So although this wasn't data per se, this just goes to show that participation in workforce and economic development update events is another way to access information that might eventually end up on a yearly report. All right, and I'm going to hand it back to Ricardo.
Awesome. Thanks for that. All right. So let me stop share. And I'm going to just quickly finish up what else was listed on there. So essentially, I wasn't able to pull it up. That's okay. I'll just briefly put it up here for a minute. So the other companies that we had put on here as the examples, National Association of Manufacturers, Association for Information Systems, Medical Devices Manufacturers Association, American Council on Renewable Energy. These are other examples that you can definitely search for and look to see if there are entities that can definitely help you out as far as your networking goes, but also again finding out very specifically what's going on in your area. In closing, what I'd like to say is that everything that we provided to you is are essentially methods that you too can utilize as far as like outlooking career paths in your future, whether it's for you, for anybody else. But simply put, everything that we utilize, everything that we do, still relies on good old-fashioned networking. Which is why we did put that component in there. We do talk with businesses, we do talk with industry experts, and we do get at least a basic idea of what's currently happening. But at least on a very general scale, you can look at some of the information currently being provided. Just understand that on that general scale, a lot of the information isn't always as up to date as it could be if you're just talking to somebody in the field already. With that, I'm going to stop our recording so that way we can talk to you all in terms of questions that you may have.